G'day folks, welcome back to Atlantic War. This is the start of the bloody Omaha scenario. This is 33.4 bloody Omaha. It's basically a one-day scenario that takes place on the first 4 turns of the 6th of June 1944, AM, midday, PM, and there's a night turn as well. So this is, fair warning up front, it's a bit of a learning playthrough. I played through the fall of Cherbourg, but now going to see how these invasion turns play out. And basically there's a whole 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages of dense rules just on this invasion stage. So it's very likely I will play some rules wrong. So brace yourself for that. Hopefully by the end of this, I have it down. I'm really keen to move on to the big campaign, so would like to have this all sorted out. Everything's set up, just to kind of give you a sense of what we're looking at here. You've got Fox, Easy, Dog, Charlie out here on the right, driving at, there you go, Colville-sur-Mer, Lorient-sur-Mer, and Verville-sur-Mer. So here, just for geographical context there. You've got down here Trevière, Bayeux out here on the left, and Sydney out here on the right. All the landing, so you've got 1st Division, 29th Division, all broken down into assault companies. So units don't have any, unlike their sort of normal battalion designations. This is the 1st Battalion, 16th Regiment, 1st Division, clearly named. Instead of that, you just have these generic assault companies, which is interesting because so much of this game is detailed and specific, like having every single destroyer named, and there are, just look at this counter tray, there are dozens and dozens of destroyers. You've even of course got every air support, I don't know if it's a squadron, named. But then you come to the beach landing and you just have generic assault companies. And it's an interesting design choice, 43 years ago, but that is how it is anyway. So they're all set up in their companies, in their kind of landing waves. There's a whole kind of detailed, complex sequence of play just for the invasion, which is where is it? Looking at the game turn sequence of play. Parachute invasion stage. Yep. The invasion stage sequence of play is twice as long as the basically regular sequence of play. Now, a few things. We start the scenario with light overcast weather. Having said that, I don't think it affects anything because the Allies don't get any aircraft on this first day. They've no air units. They're automatically considered to have 240 air points allocated to interdiction. And now I need to start thinking about where, okay, here we are. Effects of Allied interdiction with 240 points. The German off-ramp movement is +5. Strategic movement allowance is -3 for Class A, -8 for Class B. And the supply lines are reduced by 8 hexes. So they've only got a supply, German supply can only go 7 hexes. That's something I'm going to have to be particularly attentive to. Easily to forget. So we've done weather. There's no Mulberry stage. Neutral air allocation we don't need to worry about. Allied player turn. Now this is where we skip their normal turn. We skip the parachute drop stage. We go straight to the Allied invasion stage, which is here on the sequence of play up in the top right here. So you can see we've skipped all this kind of stuff, and this is where we get to sort of just the invasion areas. Now, the air bombardment stage is first. We get a special air bombardment attack with 9 air bombardment strength points to conduct in this phase. This is a special scenario rule. A maximum of 1 strength point directed against each hex, so there'll be 18 rolls. Well, normally there'll be 18 rolls, but 9 rolls for this scenario. A roll of 1 indicates that all resistance nests and batteries are pinned. So this is going to be pretty important. 9 important rolls, needing a roll of 1. So I've got about an average of I think 1.5 to hit. I'm going to pick the more densely stacked, because if I succeed, I hit everything in that stack. So let's target here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 3 more. In fact, I can just cover the whole beach. I may as well. There are some coastal batteries out here, but I really think that these guys are going to give me the biggest problem. So we've got resistance nests or Widerstand nests, strong points, German companies, coastal batteries. Okay, so now basically I need to go along and try and roll some 1s. Now I have heard that this is basically a bit of a dice fest, this landing stage. A lot of die rolling, a lot of hoping to roll low. All right, so I'm just going to roll from left to right. Here we go. No, that's a miss. They fly away. That's a miss. They fly away. That's a miss. They fly away. Come on, here's where I want to hit. That's a miss. They fly away. Come on, come on. That's a miss. They fly away. 1-1. That's a miss. And they fly away. That's a miss. Come on. Two more left. That's a miss. Last one. That's a hit. All right. So we pin these this resistance nest way out here on the right. Okay. Well, 1's better than nothing. Now we have the first Allied sea landing phase, naval bombardment fire plan segment. Now all our ships get to fire basically on static positions, so resistance nest, which I pointed out, strong points or batteries. We basically take these numbered ships, and I really need to, there are so many of these, get them all out. And you can't see it just off camera, I've got all my ships down here. Where are they? Oh, yep, there they are, right in the corner there. Going to be designating them to naval bombardments. I can have at most, and these are targeting specific German units, not a hex, but a unit. That's per, that's okay, so bombardment strength points, 3 bombardment strength points per hex. What we're looking at on these ships, just to bring it back down again, is the number on the top right. Okay, so that'll give you a look at the ships. So the top right here, these have good strength. The rockets are placed directly, landing craft rockets are placed directly on the hexes, so they're a bit special, these 4 down here. And the way it works is, I say, all right, the Arkansas is going to bombard this position here, that actual hex there. Not the hex, sorry, that unit there. The Texas is going to bombard that unit there. You allocate all these. Let's say these 3 here are going to try to find some more markers. And with a strength of 3, they are going to bombard this strong point here. These 3 with a strength of 3 going to bombard that position. I don't know what a good strategy here is. I don't know if this is the right thing, if I should be spreading it out. I guess, well, this gives me a 50% chance. I need to roll 3 or less to hit from memory. I could lower those odds and give myself a 33% chance. So what's better? Someone with statistics, is it better to have 2 50% chances or 3 33% chances? I don't know. I'm terrible with stats. So I'm just going to go, until someone can tell me otherwise, I'm just going to go with the best, with the highest odds per attack. And those 3 go to target. So I'm just concentrating the bulk of my fire on the central area here. If I can sort of open these gaps here. Yeah. Right. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 1 more. And then I think I just send the LCTs in. So kind of this lets me target every hex again. And they are better than anything. They've got an attack of 4. So the most you can attack in one fight, and I can build these up. I could have 2 or 3 3s in a row, but the best odds you can get is 3 out of 6 basically. So now I have allocated my fire missions. Yeah, I've allocated my fire missions. Now I need to resolve these fire missions. And just to make sure I'm doing this correctly, I'm going to the naval power rules. Now I must resolve attacks against German. See, I'm worried. I wonder if I should have targeted some of those coastal guns. Oh, I've done it anyway now. So now I do bombardment attacks against battery units. Okay, now I don't know how many of these battery units how many of these units are actually batteries? None? Yeah, none. Okay, so I can skip that. So look, again, I don't know what the good strategy here is. Do you want to target the batteries? Because what happens next, where are the batteries even? Okay, there's 2 out here. There are 2 out. None here. 2 out here. Okay, so now what happens before I resolve those? So normally I'd resolve these attacks if they were targeting batteries. Then I do allied. German player may fire at Allied naval units. German anti-ship fire segment. German batteries may fire. And basically, we work our way from the left to right. We go, okay, there's a unit here needing a 1 to hit my ship, and they'll target the battleships first. They fail. Next battery needs a 2. They succeed. So the Arkansas takes a hit. They're damaged. We come along. I think the next battery is up here. They need a 2 to hit. They fail. Next battery needs a 1 to hit. They succeed, and the Arkansas sinks. And that's it, I think. I don't know if there are any other coastal batteries. Bits and pieces of artillery, but in terms of actual batteries, that is it. Just the 4. Okay. So now we get to, after the anti-ship fire segment, I can resolve bombardments against all resistance nests and strong points. So that doesn't change my fire at all. Although the Germans sank the Arkansas, it's kind of considered to be simultaneous, so the Arkansas still gets their fire mission off at the same time. Now I roll a die for each fire mission. I add 1 to the die roll if it's a strong point. They're the ones with the little sort of asterisks. 2 if it's an adjacent to a friendly ground unit, which it isn't on this first turn. And I need equal to or less than the fire mission number. So I do these before the LCTs. So first of all, top unit there, needing 3 or less. Fail. Okay. Fail. 2 strong points are going to stay there. Top unit next. Fail. Can I stop rolling 6s? Use the blue dice. Yeah, that's better. All right, so this is less than or equal to 3, which means that this resistance nest is pinned. Next space along under that LCT there. Fail. And then the stack of 2 here. Fail and success. Right, so they are pinned. It could have gone a lot better. And that's it. Now we move on to our LCTs. They're one use only, then permanently removed from play. So after I've placed all this, I remove LCTs and place them on the German static unit which to bombard. Yep. That's it. So basically, so they get a shot of 1, 4 or less. That's a hit. They are pinned. Next one, 4 or less. That's a miss. And these guys basically now removed from play. Next one. That's a hit. That is now, if I roll 2 or less than the number, sorry, I've been, gotta watch this, 2 or less than the number, eliminates that static unit. And they can go in, where are they? German units eliminated, I don't know where that would go. Off to the side. Last one, 4 or less, a 1 eliminates that strong point. So this will be minus 1 to the die roll, which is 3. Yep, it's less than 2, so I knocked off a strong point there, which is good. Okay, so it's still looking a bit dangerous. I can't, just something to keep in mind, I can't direct these attacks against combat units that are not static unless they're stacked with a static unit. So basically I have to target a hex with a static unit in it. All right, that's kind of the bombardment phase done. Now we do the tank landing segment. Now, you've noticed, if you can see all along here, I've put all the Allied tanks on top of the stacks at the front because the tanks land first. You go through all the tanks from left to right, then you go through all the infantry, then you go through all the demolition points, which are a bit special themselves. These are all DD tanks. They should be on the bottom, infantry on top, DD on top. So there's no DD tank here, so basically we start with this one. And I need to decide whether they try to swim to shore or land normally. And I think I'm going to take the risk with pretty much all of them and try and get them to swim to shore. The difference basically is each beach has a drift marker. To land normally, you need to roll less than the drift number. Anything higher and they drift, whatever happens, if they're a tank, they become pinned. So even if these DDs land successfully, they'll be pinned unless they swim to shore. Now it's only 1 number less. You can see DD tank landing 2. So to land these DDs, I need to roll 2 or less, I think. Yeah, so I need to declare at the beginning of the landing segment, I need to declare how they're going to land. And as I said, I think they're all going to attempt to swim ashore. So do all normal tanks first. There aren't any on this beach. They're all DD. They don't make drift. If they're swimming ashore, they don't make drift rolls. They just need to roll less than or equal to their DD tank landing rating. So I've got a lot of rolls needing a 2 or less. If they roll higher, they're eliminated. Okay, so the difference is with a drift roll, rolling high means they just drift away, become pinned. With a DD swimming ashore, they roll high, they become eliminated. So it's a gamble. You're always gambling. And I guess the key question is, do you send 1 or 2 ashore? I've got 6 DDs landing in this first wave. So the odds are only 2 of them will land. That's with standard odds. But it'll enable them to shoot straight away. I'm going to do it. 2 or less. That's a fail. They sink. Next one, 2 or less. Success. All right, we've got a DD tank ashore. Excellent. Next one, 2 or less. Fail. They sink. Next one up here, 2 or less. That's a success. All right. There's my average. Next one, 2 or less. That's another success. All right, I have 3 DDs ashore. Active, unpinned. 1 more to go. Fail, and they sink. Incidentally, if you've noticed these 3 down here, these are these are ranges, special ranges that you can place anywhere during the landing segment of the game. They're not subject to drift. You just place them on the beach, so they're super special. Okay, tanks are ashore. After I completed my tank landing, I proceed with my infantry landing. And again, starting from left to right, but they don't. They just roll for drift, basically. So they need 3 or less. But before I go further, I'm going to get a die roller so I don't mess this up. Yeah, I've been sitting there, dice flying. So, starting on the left here, 1 infantry company landing. Now this is 16th Regiment, 1st Division. I think it's 1st Battalion, way at the far left. They roll a 4, which is 1 higher than the drift rating. This means they land 1 hex to the east in a pinned condition. So they would land there, 1 hex to the east. Again, this is north, south. And we'll leave the demolition for later. Next unit, 6. Okay, if I roll 2 higher, they are eliminated. So I lose my company out there. And that can be my dead box. Next one. And you're rolling also for the entire stack. So they're dead as well. Next stack, a 3, which is equal to or less than. So I need to think about where the leaders go. So that infantry company gets ashore. The leaders help unpin units they're stacked with or adjacent to. Leaders land with infantry. Okay. So I guess yeah, they're eliminated. Okay, so we lose Colonel Taylor. Ouch. But Brigadier General Andrus arrives, lazy red, with a company. Okay, moving along. Next company. They land well. Okay, so we're getting a good cluster of units in the centre here, including DDs. All right, look at that, 5 in a row. Next company here, they land well, and we even have a stack here. Nice. Next, they're eliminated. Oh, there's no, oh no, with Brigadier General Coda as well. All right, now at the far right, they drift one to the left and are pinned. And, yep, 29th Division, Colonel Canham, never pinned, they reduced. Yep, so that's fine, he lands. And then our commandos out the far right, I think they would land normally. They succeed anyway. Sorry, that should go, gotta follow the arrows. That should go there. All right, so now we have a good, strong, well, I don't know, decent, it looks decent, cohort of companies in the centre there, including some DDs, which will help. Now we bring in our demolition engineers, but they don't arrive on the beach. We put them in here in this DP landed box. Okay, so we do the same thing, rolling for drift and so forth. First company are eliminated. Second group are eliminated. Ouch. Eliminated? Oh no, this is not going to help. They will drift one. What happens with their drift? Yeah, they lose a strength point, so they drift east, lose a strength point, and go placed there. I'm going to struggle out here on the left, fox green, fox red. Whereas Easy and Dog are doing okay. They land, okay. Yeah, so this is where I start to roll well, right? Yep, talk myself up. Yep, okay, so Dog and Easy, there's an elimination. Okay, that's the first wave done. Now, these Ranger units can land during Allied invasion stages only until I reach my gap number. They can land only during an infantry landing phase on any beach, never subject to drift, and they're the only that can cross cliff hex sides. So what do I want to do? These three guys here. Do I want to support the position out here on the Fox Red? Do I want to, if I pin down German here, it might be good to get up these cliffs. They can also attack across cliff hex sides. The only unit that can move across those cliff hex sides and apparently I can refer to the terrain effects chart to see this, but I don't know. Primary road, secondary road, there's no cliffs there. Hey Brian. Yeah, look, I'm really enjoying it. So let's get some ranges. There's pinned here as well, so let's put at least one there, and then one here, and one here. They're going to climb the cliffs. Yeah, okay, so that's pretty cool. Yep, that's done. Okay, so that is most of the landing phase, most of it, complete. We've done infantry landing, demolition. Okay, now we get to the small arms segment. Okay. Unpinned German units may fire at any adjacent Allied unit. The German player must fire hex by hex. Now there's a special, you may have noticed it, German small arms fire table, which basically pins, a special result, pins, during this sort of landing phase, it pins Allied units landing. Fire hex by hex, the entire stack using a combined combat strength. An Allied occupied hex may be attacked more than once by different stacks. May fire at any, okay. Now, I don't know if there are any, basically just relying on the summary. Combat. Okay, so during this segment, I can attack any allied unit to which I have a unit adjacent. I total the number of combat points I'm attacking with, roll 1 die, consult the table. Explanation of results is pretty straightforward. If I get an elimination result, I eliminate combat units from play. All remaining combat units in the hex are pinned. In addition, I must eliminate 1 demolition engineer point from the box and reduce any leader. Previously reduced leaders are eliminated. Okay, so yeah, basically if I hit infantry, I also hit the demolition engineer points. So the entire stack must fire as 1 combat strength. I can't combine fire from 2 hexes. Each hex fires separately. So it's very different. It's completely different to the normal rules. This is what makes this whole sequence kind of difficult, because you learn the system, as I did with Cherbourg. Now it's like, okay, forget everything you know, because now this is happening. All right, so let's go here, and we'll get the strong point targeting this hex here. Strength of 4, I roll a die, I roll a 4. A 4-4 kills off, what did I have there? Yep, my infantry. And there's no engineers in that hex. And I wound that leader, so he's flipped. I reduce any leader units. He doesn't have a reverse side. I'm not sure he's meant to, or not. Now these guys will shoot on the same hex. No, they'll shoot at the DD tanks. 2 has no effect. Now we'll go just the 1 targeting that hex there. 1-1, no effect. 1-1 again for the next hex is no effect. Then we've got 1 on there is no effect. Okay, 1 on there, no effect. And now we've got the strong points though. We've got 4. 4-1 is a pin result for the DDs. That's okay. Could have been a lot worse. Pinned, and 1 final 1 out there. 1-4 is a pin result. If they're already pinned, what happens? No additional effect. Okay, cool. So that's not bad. I think that, look, I could have pinned a lot more German units in my attacks, but that's what happened. They survived pretty well, but their counterfire wasn't all that effective. So pretty happy with how, from the Allied perspective, how that kind of worked out. A bit worried about my engineer points. They're a bit low. Now we get the Allied movement section. So unpinned Allied movements may move 1 hex, subject to all normal movement and zone of control rules. Pinned units don't exert ZSC. So this unit doesn't exert a ZSC. So I can move my ranges up to here. Maybe I should have landed them both. Oh, that's not a landing hex. They can't land there. So I would have had to kind of put them somewhere else. I may as well put them all. They can't. They could have landed on that hex, but they can't really go anywhere because of the strong points. Let's put them out here where they're sort of not at risk of anything happening. They can now climb these cliffs. These guys can't because they're in the zone of control of that unit there. Oh, they're pinned, sorry. I may as well bring up everything across that cliff hex. Now, stacking is really weird. That's a good explanation. I think it's 8 in a beach hex, 4 elsewhere. I could have that wrong. You can have massive stacks. Maybe it's 12. Is it 12 in a beach hex and 4 elsewhere? In any case, I think 4 companies can attack out of a hex. So that's where you want to limit yourself. Where else can I move to? Nobody else can move because everything else is pinned down by enemy zones of control. And of course, you can't move ZOC to ZOC or whatever. Now we get to the Allied assault segment. I must attack with all of my unpinned units that are adjacent to unpinned German units. No more than 4 may attack out of a hex. Other hexes may combine their combat strengths. Pinned units never required to attack. Refer to the invasion stage line of the CRT. I don't remember seeing an invasion stage like invasions. Oh, this is a really tough one to come to here. Okay, so I've used the CRT before, but now there's a special, really difficult row for combat results, which is just going to hurt. 3-1's about the best odds I'm going to get in combat, and it's a horrific column on this invasion stage combat. Okay, so I ignore all unparenthesized results. Ignore all standard shifts except armor. 3 columns, okay, 3 columns left if entirely across a cliff. 1 column if across a bluff. 1 column to the right for each engineer. All right, let's try and roll and see what happens. 3-1, 5 is a 1D result. So ignore it, okay? Ignore all unparenthesized results, disruptions, demoralizations. I just ignore that. Okay, that's interesting. They're pinned, so now I've got 4 attacking. Attacking 1. 4-1. Let's see what happens. 4-1, 7 is a 1-step loss to me. Okay. That's pretty crap. Yeah. All right, next one. Let's go to big attack here. They've got, it's entirely across a bluff, which is going to suck. I've got 4-1. 4-1. My armor is 5. There's is, so the CRT, terrain effects chart doesn't talk about bluffs. Okay, 4-1. Armor superiority, I'm 2.5 times. So 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, I think. Back down to 5-1 because I'm across a bluff. Okay, so let's try 5-1. 5-1, 12. Oh, God. Nothing happens. Thought that was going to be my best chance of getting a hit. And, oh, God, 1-4. It's, I can voluntarily pin these guys so they don't have to attack. That's weird, but that's one of the rules. So, yeah, assault combat is a bit weird. I'm not a huge fan. The regular combat system is cumbersome enough, and that just kind of like adds another kind of, yeah, weird layer. But that's the Allied assault segment. Now I've got demolition segment. I can blow gaps with my demolition engineers. I roll each die for each sub-beach. And there's an allied demolition table. Okay, so I think what happens is I go along, I need a decent roll here. A 6 will do it, so that adds 2 gaps blown to this area. Okay, so I rolled a 6 on this table. That gives me a result of 2, so 2 gaps blown. Come along to here, roll again, a 3 has a result of 1 gap blown. Not out of battery. Yeah, number 1, 1 gap blown. Again, a 5 is 1 gap blown. Until these start adding up, they're not going to do a lot, and the 1 is no result. So at present, I have 4 gaps blown. I need, where's the number? Gaps blown, Omaha Beach. Here it is, gap number 45. I need these to total 45 to open the beach. So yeah, still a way to go. Then we have the mutual unpinning segment. All German units that are pinned are automatically unpinned. That kind of sucks because you've got to keep doing that kind of thing over and over. Big strong point there. Okay. Allied leader units may attempt to relieve the pin status of Allied pinned units. Roll once for each leader on the map. A die roll equal to or less than their leader value. Oh God, okay. So this guy here, 2 succeeds. All allied units stacked with or adjacent become unpinned. That's good. They're okay. Over here, what does this mean? He's upside down. What does that mean? What does it mean he's upside down? Okay. It is unclear. Is he dead? Okay, so this is interesting. Okay, so that's not the end of the turn. We go through the second Allied sea landing phase. So we do the whole thing again with this second wave. But I've got a lot of rules uncertainties here. Pinned units, flipped leaders. It says to flip the leader. Yeah, okay, so some of them have a reverse side. This guy doesn't, so I assume he has no replacement. I'm going to treat him as being dead. Yeah, okay, that's bad. So I lost 3 leaders. 1, 2, did I lose a third one somewhere? Yep, 3 leaders in the first wave. That's terrible. Okay, so I'm going to stop there, check the rules, take some time, come back later and continue with the second wave. But yeah, I'm not overly happy with how things are going. Good that I got the DDs on. Good that German small arms fire was pretty ineffective, but then my assaults were terrible. It's just a really horrible. I think that's the idea. Like, I think this is pretty standard. Yeah, Brian, yeah, I guess Brian's just noting that it's interesting how different designers have handled this. And they always kind of, I don't know if you've played GTS, but that's a huge, 12-page naval sequence of play. This is easier. And I remember the Battle for Normandy, GMT Games. The invasion sequence there, this is going back many years ago when that first came out, frustrated me so much, I just packed the game in and gave up. I don't know, this doesn't leave much room for decision making. It's a lot of die rolling. What am I actually doing here? I've decided where to put the Rangers. That's important. What other decisions have I made? Oh, putting the DDs in, making them swim in. That was important. What else? Where to attack? You don't really have much choice. I didn't. I mean, these guys were given a choice between a pinned unit and an unpinned unit, so I picked the unpinned unit, and they failed because they got such horrific odds. These guys didn't have much choice either. They had to basically combine. They basically had to combine. That's only like 3 attack. You don't really have a lot of choice. Yeah. Interesting. It's just a lot of die rolling and hoping for the best. And like I kind of hinted at, playing at the odds. What are the odds of this happening? What are the odds of that? Yeah, lots to think about. So let me go away and study the rulebook, see what happens with pinned units, and yeah, I'll be back soon. Thanks everyone. Take care.